thing that I noticed as I prep to do a dump run today, I don't know if you guys have the ability to go to your local dump and to take care of trash or whatever, but I am fortunate enough to have that ability to be able to just go there with my water bill, show up, and we can throw away a bunch of crap. But as I was prepping to do my dump run, yesterday I had a lot of maintenance to do in regards to my vehicle. That was a headache, switching out TPMS sensors, which I don't have the ability to do. My tires are just entirely too big for me to break the bead and swap them out. So I had to take them somewhere. Recently I've had to do just a lot of different small maintenance items, and I own my truck free and clear. It's completely paid off. I like it a lot. But I guess the overall point that I would say is a lot of you guys, and I'm saying you guys because I'm guilty of this in the past as well, are okay with buying new stuff versus just doing maintenance on your current items. This is not just a truck. I mean, that's a pretty extreme example, but I guess I would say that overall, a lot of us are okay with, if something's not exactly going how we want it to go, we're more willing to just buy something new. Why is it just America? Is it something that that's common all over the place? I don't really think so. I want to try to convince you why I don't think that's the best way to go about this, but we're going to be jumping to some intelligentsia black cat today. This is some pretty good stuff. I've had several bags of these before. I need to go get ready to go buy another bag here soon. But my Mrs. X and I are like completely different when we on my next point. My truck is completely paid off, and I have no burning desire to get another one as it stands right now. I look all the time. Trust me, I am truck curious. It's not like I'm completely ignoring the fact that there are newer models. But one thing that I've noticed a lot when it comes to new trucks is that they're not insanely different than what I currently have right now. So at this moment, I have a 2015 GMC Sierra, which means that it actually was released to the public in 2014. So mine's technically a decade old, as in like how long it's been on the streets. But do my decade old features and decade old bones of my truck, are they super noticeable? I would argue that they're not. I drive a 5.3 liter V8 3.08 gear axles, 4-wheel drive, tow package. The rest of the stuff is pretty Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, leather seats, heated steering wheel. What am I missing that if I were to run out and go get a 2014 or 2024 version of my same truck? Like, what would be the main reason to do something like that? I would argue to say that for a lot of us, it's really just doing it to do it. I don't know if it's something that would be 100% beneficial or not, or if we just don't want to be completely left out of the fray and we want to keep up with everybody else. I have buddies that have 2023s, 2024 trucks, and their trucks are pretty similar to mine. That brings me to my point of everyday carry and gear maintenance. What are you really getting by running out and getting a new knife or new flashlight, a new whatever? Like, what are you actually achieving by doing that? I would argue to say that you're giving yourself a peace of mind. You're avoiding having to do maintenance. Maybe you are, getting the newest, latest, and greatest. But I would say that you're spending and wasting money that you don't necessarily need to do. Now, what do I know? You can spend your money on whatever the hell you want to. But I do know that I don't know if the juice is always worth the proverbial squeeze. In other words, should you just get yourself a dedicated knife maintenance area and just learn how to start working on your own stuff? I think so. Should you learn how to check the batteries in your gear? Like in the back of my truck right now, I have all sorts of gear. Most of them are lithium ion batteries, but there could be some alkaline batteries in there. I have to go through, make sure that everything is good to go and that I am not overly, I am not overly letting stuff just sit there and not go without any maintenance. The key word today is maintenance. I want you guys to really focus on avoiding actually spending more money on something when you could just easily learn how to maintain your own crap. A lot of us don't want to do that, don't know how to do that. Watch channels like mine, Neve's Knives, the Prepper channels, anything, even for your vehicles and stuff like that as well. Any of those channels can help guide you in regards to not spending more money unnecessarily on some stuff versus just simply getting it maintenance. So I was talking about earlier maintenance on my truck. I just got done decking out, brand new for me at least, a lot of upgrades to my knife maintenance area. Up until this point, me and knife maintenance were really kind of ham-handed. I would clean my knives, I would maintain my knives. This is a little bit of, that's looking pretty freaking yummy. I will admit to you, that looks pretty good. Up until this point, but when it came to like clean my knives, maintain my knives, it was very haphazard. I would either do it here, this coffee mess. I would just carve out a space on my workbench, wherever. And what happened is, or my man cave table, what ended up happening was I did it less often. And I would find a reason to actually go get something new. Whether that be a new bag, which I literally just loaded up some bags to take to Goodwill because I have way too many. Or I would find a reason to go get, a new watch if I didn't know how to do certain type of maintenance, especially if I didn't know how to change the battery, if it wasn't a mechanical watch. Or I would look for a reason to just go get another flash, whatever, versus just finding a dedicated space to do maintenance. I think that if you can find a dedicated space, even if you're a dad, and I know we're busy and we have like very limited areas in our lives where we have dedicated anything. If you can get dedicated spacing to do maintenance, whether that be in your yard to do maintenance on your truck, or a parking space in your parking lot of your apartment complex, if you're allowed to do that, because I know we all aren't fortunate enough to have a yard, or carve out a little space in your garage just to be able to do maintenance. I think it could ultimately save you a lot of money. I equate to learning how to do maintenance or beginning to do maintenance on the stuff that you already own. I equate that to this coffee mess that I'm sitting at. And what I mean by that is I took the time out to learn how to make espresso, learn how to make pour overs, because I sure knew how to order that shit from Starbucks, but I didn't know how to actually do it myself. So you got 1 or 2 cups a day that you're consuming, and that could be however much money. Plus you're making the trip there, you're spending time there. You might get yourself a brownie or a chocolate chip cookie or some type of like protein box or whatever. I invested in this so that I could reduce the amount of money I spent on coffee. You may invest in a juice bar in your kitchen because you're a workout head and you want to juice every day, but you don't see the point in necessarily going to a Nectar juice bar and giving them $6, $7, $8, $9 a day. So you invested in a juice bar. Invest in maintaining your gear. Everything from your trucks and your cars, all the way to maintaining your clothing and your shoes. If you spend all this money on some Red Wings, why are you not maintaining those boots? Why don't you have Renaissance wax and actually condition the leather? Or, if you have composite scales on your knives, you should be cleaning those. Or if you have wood scales, you should be waxing those. If you have whatever, Why are we not learning how to do that stuff? I watch so much content, whether it be for vehicles, and it's almost gluttonous. And I love channels that show us overland rigs and overland builds, last line of defense, Talon Sci. I love all that type of stuff. But those channels sometimes can lead you to believe that you need generation 4 of the Tundra. You need generation 4 of the GMCs. You need the next best, biggest thing. What you currently have is lacking. And that's not the point of those channels. The point of those channels is to show you aspirations of what you could and could do to the vehicle that you have. But a lot of us see those channels and think that we are not keeping up with the Joneses because they have the best stuff ever. I would argue that you're missing the boat. It's the same concept when you watch channels such as Tri-State EDC or Neve's Knives or anybody else that opens up a knife for first impressions unboxings. They're giving you an overview of that knife. They're not trying to convince you that you're not keeping up with the Joneses. If you see me start pumping out content on my truck, I have no shame to tell you this is my decade-old truck and I'm still making upgrades. I literally was filming a video yesterday which talked about upgrades for my truck, some of which I don't know why I never thought about doing. It's been nearly a decade and I'm just doing them now. But until the wheels start to fall off that thing, I'm probably gonna drive it for quite a while. That's probably similar to some of the stuff when it comes to my knives. I'm gonna try my best to maintain my knives as much as I can. Although I do get a lot of FOMO, my goal every year is I do allow companies to send me new knives and stuff like that. But my goal every year is to keep myself capped at 50 knives. So if that's giving away knives, which I do all the time, or selling them, or whatever, is to cap myself off and do maintenance to the stuff that I have. I want you to do the same thing. I also want you to get to work, because I know you got shit to do. I gotta get ready to go to the dump. And the thing is, I gotta go to the dump with an 11-month-old. She's still sleeping. I'm about to go wake her up. But that should be interesting. If this is the first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, maybe you watched this video while you were doing some maintenance, and I appreciate that. For everyone else, we'll speak soon. Yeah, that's some good shit.